Hey, welcome to the EverGrow Coin AMA. Coming up in about 45 minutes. I forgot to turn the timer on. Let me get that on there as well. Can everybody hear me okay? Awesome. I've got a new mic holder coming in later today. I was hoping it was going to get here before this, but it's not quite here. So I figured out that for live events, I got to get the mic a lot closer than I need to for just doing regular recordings. Not sure why there's a difference, but it must be how the OBS software works with stuff. Everybody excited about today's event? I think we're going to hear a little bit about the Bitmart listing. I'm sure that's coming since that's a couple days away now that it's actually listed on Bitmart. Yeah, me too. I mean, we're probably going to be doing a launch. I mean, we could basically do a watching event here because we're only about 600 away from 100,000 holders, which is crazy. So at some point today, we're probably going to cross that 100,000 holder threshold. Yeah, no problem. I'm glad you guys find the videos helpful. Yeah, I always like the price bumps too. And I suspect we're going to see another price bump probably later this week after it launches on Bitmart. That's a lot of people that have access to it, so. Hey George, welcome to the EverGrow community. As you can see, we've had some pretty significant growth periods here. And we've had about 100,000, I mean, just like I said, just shy of 100,000 users in just over 5 or 6 weeks now. Yeah, if you've been tracking other coins, when they start listing on the exchanges, there's usually a pretty significant price bump. Not always. In the case of SHIB, which is another one that I've tracked on this channel, they didn't have an initial jump in price, but over the weeks, it definitely skyrocketed. Yeah, we've been kind of low on the volume side. It's actually tapering off quite a bit. So it should be starting in just around 40 minutes. Yep, 12 Eastern Standard Time. And I think my daughter might join us for the AMA. I'm trying to get her to learn a little bit about crypto and how crypto works and how investing works. So I'm trying to get her trained on that as well. So she might join us a little later on for the AMA. We'll see. Yeah, it'd be exciting if we could do the 100,000 holder watch right now in the middle of this AMA. And you can see every time I've hit the refresh button, we've added a couple holders, but it's not quite at the rate that we would jump, almost 600 holders in the next hour and a half. So hopefully we get some more viewers and potentially some more holders that haven't already bought in, learn about EverGrow coin. Affinity is a hard one to predict. It hasn't had a lot of growth since I've started following Affinity. It depends on if they can get the word out for it, to be honest. Here's the crazy thing for EverGrow coin. If we actually have the 6 to 11 exchanges listed, the potential there is to almost drop a zero. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of potential growth for this token. We've only got about 100,000 right now. Do a comparison to maybe Saitama is another good example. How long did it take Saitama to get to 100,000 holders? We've done it in 5 or 6 weeks, under 2 months. And I think if I remember correctly, Saitama just passed the 200,000 threshold, and that one launched, I want to say around June timeframe. I haven't done the math on what it would take for us to drop a zero, but with the potential of the number of holders and the growth, adding it to all these different exchanges, it's definitely possible. I agree. I think that this has a lot of potential, Corey. I haven't cleaned up my price adjustment tool to kind of show what that looks like and what kind of volume that we would need in a market cap to get another zero dropped off. Maybe I'll work on that and clean it up. But I've been trying to work on a slider that works better for these tokens, but the slider for Excel is finicky. It doesn't like to work with big numbers like we're talking about. So I have to have multiple sliders, and it's just not user friendly. I think I've used it for one video just to kind of illustrate how prices work and what to really expect. And realistically, definitely hitting the 2 mark, maybe the 3 mark. With all of the exchanges, yeah, is it possible to drop another zero? I think so. But I'd have to do the math and see what that looks like volume-wise. Here's kind of the crazy thing when you think about it for Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin, they've been projecting potentially $100,000 by the end of the year. I don't think we're necessarily on track to hit that. We're talking less than 6 weeks to hit that. So I don't know that we're going to hit it, but why would you invest in Bitcoin to begin with? And why would you continue to stay in Bitcoin when we've got all these other projects that are 2, 4, 10, 100xing in price? And most of these other blockchains have more capability other than just the sheer store of value, which is beneficial to businesses. I suspect over the next year or two, we're going to see a decrease in Bitcoin would be my guess, just because there's more beneficial options out there. But right now, everything's tied to Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin goes down, the entire market drops. So it is what it is right now. Pretty much everything follows Bitcoin. Unfortunately. Again, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's just that's how the market seems to trend. Very few tokens go against Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin was down for all those months, so was every other token. But there's a couple that were, especially new launches, that had growth. The interesting thing with EverGrow coin is the buyback and burn mechanism and the ability to counteract some of the market decreases when they happen. Let me see if I can put in my price Excel and see what would need to happen in order to drop a zero for this particular token. Yeah, I definitely agree. We're not even in the season. And most of the altcoins are going crazy right now. Everybody tracking Saitama. Now, it dropped a little bit after the SaitaMask launch last night, which was easy to predict because that generally does happen. But Saitama's been on fire as well. Same thing with SHIB. I considered doing the same thing for SHIB multiple times. I ended up keeping it mainly because of tax reasons. I hate having to pay higher taxes on things that I sell under the 12 months. I haven't looked into Chunky Coin before, so I'm not exactly familiar with that one. I agree with that, Corey. It's definitely exciting. Plus the utility, and to see where the utility is going to take this token. As soon as they open it up, I'm going to try doing these on that platform and see how the process works for doing streaming, because they keep talking about OnlyFans and the streaming capabilities over there and the ability to stream on their new platform. So I think there's going to be a couple that try to do that as well. I'm just not sure exactly how it's going to work because there's not a lot of details out there. But plan for that as well. I'll continue to do everything on YouTube, but I do want to cross over there just to try to bring growth there as well. So we'll see what that looks like, but plan for that down the road as well, as I'll be doing it on both platforms to try to bring extra growth to the new stuff for EverGrow. And if I understood it correctly, they're going to have a subscription option and then also just give the option to donate, kind of like what they have here on YouTube. So my plan is to do just the normal streaming event, just like for YouTube, not do some sort of a paid subscription. But again, until I get in there and actually can see the system, it's kind of hard to see what that's going to look like and how it's going to work. I'd heard of OnlyFans, but I'd never actually gone on their platform before, so I had to go check it out just to kind of see what the platform's all about. And I don't know. I'm hoping that it'll be a little bit easier for EverGrow Coins platform on how everything works and setups. But I've asked some of those questions just in emails and that kind of stuff, but I haven't got any good answers yet. And I think part of it is they don't want to announce too much information unless I'm willing to sign an NDA. And I think in this particular case I would, just because I'd like to know kind of how the system works and make sure I can get set up and ready for it, because I'm familiar with YouTube, but I'm not necessarily familiar with all the other platforms on how they do things. So it should be interesting to see. And also, just a reminder, if you could hit the like button just so that the YouTube algorithm pushes us out to more people, it's much appreciated. Yeah, I projected that was going to happen last night with the Say to Mask event. That's pretty general with any kind of a launch. It's a little different for listings. You shouldn't necessarily see a price drop on listing announcements, but when you're launching a product like a swap or a wallet or an exchange, that kind of stuff, you generally do see some sort of a price drop because people will buy the rumor and sell the news. So that was predictable last night. I expected a lot of people to sell off. I was just hoping that people would be prepared for it and would buy against the dip and hopefully negatively impact all those sellers that took advantage of the launch to make a little bit of a profit. I did a review on Cryptor. I liked the idea, but I did have some concerns about the project overall. So I did not buy Cryptor, but I do like the idea. I don't have anything in my portfolio for social media based crypto, and that's kind of the niche that Cryptor's in. And I read about another one that's trying to do the same thing. I can't remember which one it was, but I'm looking for a good project to add to my portfolio that does that. I have more faith in EverGrow coin than I do in Cryptor, so I think that was probably a good trade. I didn't like the platform. I'm not sure. It's just not what I was expecting for a social media platform. But I did get an account and I logged in there and checked it out. It was down when I did my review, but it did go back up later on. Creator, the platform with EverGrow. I mean, we really don't know that much about it at this point, so it's hard to say. I mean, they've got the website built, they've announced the name, but that's really all we know about Creator at this point, so it's kind of early to make an opinion about it. I like the name. I don't know that everybody's going to understand the transfer from creator to creator, but I mean, I think that it's a good brand name, so we'll see what happens. I hope he does. I hope he announces a couple more exchanges. And he's been talking about the 6 for a while. But I think we're probably going to get an update on Creator. on what the status is there. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. We haven't heard about the game in a while, so it would be interesting if he could do an update on that. I know it's not necessarily a high priority thing. They're trying to get the NFT marketplace and the creator up and running first, but it would be good to do a quick recap of what the status of the game is. That's why I like Bitmart too, because they generally, when they're going to launch something, they do an announcement like they've got on the website now for EverGrow coin. Not all of the exchanges do that, and I don't understand why. It's good marketing practice to announce that something's coming. But yeah, a lot of the exchanges don't, especially some of the newer exchanges that are out there. Yeah, I agree. That way it's on the exchange. So the projects, I'm not a big fan of them announcing dates and times unless there's a corresponding announcement from whoever they're partnering with, whether it's an exchange or some other project that's out there. Because when they miss it, it becomes the project's blame. All the blame falls on the specific project. You know, like well, it's a great example for SafeMoon, right? So they announced, hey, they're going to do this, or the exchange, or the VT token. I mean, V2 token. They announce all these things, and they give roundabout months, and the months kind of blow by, and they suffer the consequences through price. So I prefer that they not announce roundabout times, unless they're confident they're actually going to hit those times. And specific dates, those can hold off until they get closer to, in my opinion, because otherwise you're just going to suffer through the price action, which is fine because we get to buy in on the dips. I did that repeatedly on SafeMoon. It was predictable. You could see they were going to miss their timelines repeatedly. So it's easy to plan buying the dips in SafeMoon. Yeah, I agree about the Sex and Dex volume, Stephen. They definitely should show that information. And that was the same thing I asked about. I think I asked on the last AMA last week about that. Or maybe I did at the midweek Discord. I think that's probably where I asked that question. So that question should get pushed to the team, is whether they're going to put that on their website or how they're going to differentiate that. Because if you're somebody that likes to track your rewards and kind of see that the rewards are matching up, especially if they seem kind of low based off the volume, you should be able to go to their DApp, or you should be able to go to their website and see what the actual volume was for the exchanges that either participate in rewards or don't. Because I think it's entirely possible that we're going to have exchanges down the road that are going to participate in the reward system. SafeMoon in particular, I could see them doing it. And if they haven't already reached out to SafeMoon to say, hey, we're definitely interested in listing on your exchange when you guys are up and running, just to make sure that they build in the functionality for Binance pegged USD back as rewards. And I think SafeMoon's probably paying attention to what's going on in the crypto market to make sure that they've already addressed that. But if they have oversight, or if they've missed that particular aspect, then hopefully they're building it in right now. But how I'd like to be able to do this is to jump on the DApp and see the breakdown of volumes between the exchanges that don't participate and the exchanges or DEXs that do. That way you know what the volume for the day based on the platform. Because all you're going to see when you go to CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko is the total volume, and that's kind of useless. You can do the math because you can go to the bottom and see which markets or which exchanges everything's on, but that requires you to do quite a bit of work. And I think it really should be easy, and I think they should have the ability to track that. I have not. I've looked at a couple other projects, and I've looked at a couple other projects before this one launched. And I stress this a lot in my fundamental analysis. If you didn't dox, I'm much less likely to invest in your project. Every once in a while, I invest in a project that doesn't dox themselves, but that's far and few between. Just because I have been in those rug pulls for projects that don't dox themselves, and there's a couple of features. And same thing with security audits. I've lost money because contracts have been audited or haven't been audited, and then they get hacked or liquidity pool gets stolen or different things happen. So that's why I emphasize those two things, because most of the projects I've invested in that have those two things, I haven't had a problem with. And I can't think of a single project that I've invested in that I lost money because of those issues. If your face is out there and your name's out there, your reputation's on the line, you're going to make sure that everything is as smooth as possible. At least that's the way I look at it. Now, maybe one of these projects will have, a great example is SHIB, right? So SHIB hasn't doxed their team, but look at it, it's making a killing. But what's stopping them from doing something to pull all the money out of it, other than going to jail down the road and having to run for the rest of their lives? But there's no accountability for that entire team if something like that was to happen. But I did invest in that particular project, but it's very different from this one, obviously. But I have looked at a lot of the projects that are kind of like this. This is the first one that I invested in, especially with getting back Binance Pegged USD. This is the first one I did that with. Again, I try to look for different things in my portfolio, different percentages, different concepts, different use cases. DSIP, I want to say I saw them. I did look at their website. I don't remember. I look at so many that it's hard to keep track of it, but I do recognize the name, so I'm pretty sure I did look at their website. I spend a good chunk of my day just looking at projects, trying to find what I think might be the next big one. Yeah, I agree with those aspects: audited, community, docs, utility, and volume. Those are all good aspects, and those are some of the things I look at. I don't necessarily pay attention to the volume as much because that'll come if they're really active in the community. I did a update on one yesterday that hasn't had a real growth in their community, and I think they had like 100 tweets since setting up their Twitter. It's not a very active presence, and the growth shows. So I've been looking at the math on a price prediction for the end of the year. And to get to 4026, and again, there's some guesswork in this because price is a factor when you're talking about, obviously we're talking about price. So price does matter along with your circulating supply, which is always decreasing in this particular case. But to get to 0.000 or 4026, we'd essentially need to 14x our market cap. So we'd have to have a market cap of approximately 11 billion to get there. So dropping to zero is going to be even more challenging, but it's hard to project with this one just because the buyback and burn is constantly burning and decreasing your circulating supply. But when you add in the number of exchanges they're talking about and the utility that they're talking about, is the volume potentially going to get to that point? I think it's definitely possible. Now to just get to 4 zeros and a 1, then we have to 5x. So then we're talking about 4 billion in market cap is what we would need to achieve to get there. That's definitely possible. So that is dropping a zero. Yeah, definitely. And the thing with SHIB is exactly the same. It's the number of exchanges and the quality of the exchanges they were listed on. I'm just checking to make sure that they haven't announced the Twitter Spaces yet so that I can stream it here. Not yet. You and me both. We were just talking about the potential for it, and I definitely think it's possible because you're not talking about a ridiculous market cap to get there. All right.
Okay, everyone.
Here we go.
Welcome. We'll be starting here in a couple minutes. We're just. Okay, everyone. Welcome. We'll be starting here in a couple minutes. We're just going 2 minutes early to allow people to come in and join and fill up. So we're just getting everyone ready. Just to let everyone know, I'll be taking the team will be taking questions after they're finished speaking. I will bring like 4 people up at a time so they can connect. And please have your mics muted until I call on you. 1 question, and then I will mute you and put you down, and they'll answer, and we'll bring someone else up unless one of the team feels like they want to take a follow-up or needs to. So please be respectful to everyone when you come up, because obviously we don't know what you're going to say. But everyone's been respectful so far, so it's a great community. Not too worried about that. So just give us a couple minutes here, and we'll let her fill out, and Sam will get going when he's ready. Again, we're just waiting for people to fill up. Give us like a minute, and we'll be taking questions afterwards. I'll be calling on requested people. You can only speak if you're on a cell phone. The computer, you can just listen on a desktop. So ask 1 question, and then mute and go down. And when I bring you up to connect, please don't speak until you're called on, so we can go nice and orderly fashion. I'd really appreciate that.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks for that. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, Sam, I can hear you loud and clear. Good to go.
Perfect. So we are very much on time. I think we're getting a little bit better at this. I say that now at the beginning and hope it will still be true at the end. So we try to keep these cool. I think the first couple we did went on for maybe 2 hours, even longer. So we're trying to keep them relatively succinct and brief. We're doing these AMAs to really just try to push through with our sort of willingness to answer any questions. So obviously when it's just random people selected, we have no control over the questions, but we think we're pretty confident with the project that we can answer any questions. So that's why we like doing it in this format. As we said last week, this is going to be going down to once a fortnight on Twitter. Sorry, every 14 days. I am British. I'm aware now that not necessarily everybody knows that a fortnight is 14 days. So every 14 days, so every other Sunday, we'll do the Twitter Spaces, and we're going to do more on Telegram. So if you're not following our Telegram group and also Discord, join up with those groups as well. And also people like Paul and other people are running their own little drop-in spaces where everyone can talk when they're really good. We really encourage that with the community. So do follow the accounts of the guys on the panel tonight. And they'll be also doing some of their own activities. So I'm just spieling a little bit just to give a few more people a chance to join. Now, as I said, I want to keep these down to an hour. I myself have just this minute arrived at a hotel. I'm traveling today. I've been traveling for 7 hours, so I'm quite tired. I'm meeting a friend I haven't seen for years, and so it's just been a long old day for me. Probably not as well prepared as I normally am, but hopefully the news will sell itself. So, who's aware? I feel like I'm hosting a TV show that we hit Bitmart today. Well, we're not technically on the exchange, but Bitmart did their official announcement. We promised you big exchanges, and we also said that we weren't going to be rushed into things until they're ready. So Bitmart is a big one. They've given us a prime listing effectively, which involves some pretty significant marketing alongside it. Remember, they have 5.5 million users. So far, we have only been on the decentralized version. So people have had to go through this really tough process to get into the project, going through PancakeSwap. and we've hit almost 100,000 investors through the hardest way you can possibly invest in crypto, going on to PancakeSwap, buying, and we've got so many messages, people don't quite know how to do it. So the fact that in 7 weeks we've achieved 100,000 investors, I think maybe we need a few more, a few hundred in the next hour. Maybe we'll hit 100,000 on this call, but I suspect we'll definitely do it tonight, which is absolutely unbelievable in itself. I mean, we've broken every record, but we're still very young, and to be honest, we still have a relatively small market cap when we look at other projects. So yeah, the Bitmart listing is huge news. The reason it took so long, and we've always tried to sort of, we started off going, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. We're all very enthusiastic, and then we realized when we started working with these exchanges that they've never listed a project like ours before. They may have listed some projects with some basic tokenomics, and then they list them with a kind of watered down version, but they'd never listed a project that was offering, as we have a stable coin tokenomics. So we started the process with Bitmart about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it's led us down a really, really exciting path. And I'm genuinely very happy with what we've achieved with Bitmart. I think most of the information has seeped out over the last week. I think last Sunday on the AMA, there was a lot of confusion. People didn't quite understand all the benefits to the way we'd chosen to work. So Bitmart did 2 audits in the end of our contract. So it was a really rigorous process to get listed by them. But we also went back and forth. We tested so many scenarios. All the hard work was done with Bitmart, okay? And they have now given us this premium listing. They're going to market it to huge number of users. We're going to see potential to reach more people than we've ever reached before. But anyway, that's why it took 3 weeks, because we used Bitmart and they were very, very helpful to iron out all the anomalies of doing things a little bit differently. So we're able to name 2 other exchanges on our list. I think you guys recall, and you got very excited that we were looking at 6 exchanges. That number is now a lot bigger than 6. I can tell you the name of 2. As you know, sometimes we have NDAs, or we're not allowed to reveal names until we've effectively had the security check and the audit, and then we have to go through personal KYC, etc. So another big one that we are at that stage with, that we can name, is LBANK. Now, LBANK are a huge exchange. They've got 6.4 million users. So Bitmart are a top 10 exchange. They've recognized different websites have different rankings, but lots of them rank Bitmart. They have billions. Bitmart have billions of volume every day, which is huge. And LBANK are actually bigger still. So LBANK we are allowed to name. We're still working through the final process. We are a hell of a lot quicker than Bitmart. I can promise you that, because all the hard work's been done. LBANK have got 6.4 million users in 50 countries worldwide. So they are a seriously big exchange. You can obviously do some research into that, look into it. So we're allowed to name them now. We've been desperate to be able to name some of these big exchanges. Another that we're allowed to name is Coinsbit. They've offered us a fantastic package. See, we're not just doing sort of basic listings with these exchanges. They provide very exciting marketing that will open us up to millions and millions of users. So with those 3 that I'm able to name at this stage, that's 15 million users registered, and several billion of daily volume. Now, bear in mind, there's only about 50 million users of crypto in the whole world, and our first 3 exchanges that we're allowed to name, that we are, again, we're not going to make the mistake of giving dates, but what we've realized now with Bitmart is that once the final things are ironed out, the listing is actually relatively quick. So we're not going to give promises on the times. Bitmart is this week. It's already been announced. They've announced the times on the press release. Those are going to get distributed and tweeted and all of that stuff. So Bitmart will be this week. LBANK, Coinsbit are going to follow closely behind. We've actually got an even bigger number. So something that's very, very exciting is that we're going. This is something that I personally have really focused on, and we've had great cooperation with them. Simplex. We've not named this name in public yet, but Simplex, we are getting a direct listing with them. They are basically the top crypto payment gateway. Anyone who has any kind of crypto CX account with Binance or Truebit or whatever it might be knows that you can buy fiat direct crypto direct with fiat currencies using Simplex, and it's basically the primary payment option across all the major exchanges. So we are doing a deal direct with them, and off the back of that, they are going to introduce us to more like major tier one exchanges. So again, that's actually meant that our list is growing very, very quickly now. Obviously, Simplex includes the USA. It'll allow us to integrate onto our website with a direct buy, so you can directly buy. Again, it'll be smoother than the last listing of its type, and it's obviously a much, much, much bigger option there. So that's pretty, I mean, for me, that's pretty exciting, because the ultimate aim with Simplex will be in wallets, decentralized wallets, to be able to have a direct buy button. Now, we're not promising a timeline on that, but we are making that a big goal, and we will make whatever we can do to make that happen. We will do that. Will mean hopefully you can open up your decentralized wallet and buy direct. So this week has been huge for us. Last week, I think everyone was a bit flat. Everyone was a bit confused. This week, like the progress we've made since we managed to sign off the final element with Bitmart and get the listing date has just been rapid now. So we think these exchanges are just going to start dropping left, right, and center. Obviously, we're not going to make you wait 2 weeks for announcements. So as soon as we have listing dates, we're going to tweet them, get them out amongst the community. We're not going to make you wait. As soon as the exchanges give us the formal listing dates, you'll know about them, because we do appreciate that you want to be kept up to date. We think that that news will start coming in, and over the next couple of months, as I said, it's going to be closer to 10 to 12 exchanges rather than the first 6 that we said, and we're just working through them one at a time. They do involve a lot of work, but it's a lot easier now. So that's covered exchanges. It's a big improvement on them this time last week. We've effectively doubled the number of exchanges, and now we're able to name some, and we've got our first listing date already. We said we would do it. I know what it's like with a new project, that if something doesn't quite happen in the time frame promised, it leads to an awful lot of FUD. I'll be honest, it's going to be a great... Sorry, my iPhone likes to limit how much time I spend on social media. It just cut me off. It's going to be a great deal of personal satisfaction for me personally to see the FUDsters. There are some pretty questionable characters on YouTube and things like that saying things, but I get it. People got impatient last week. Anyway, that's behind us now, so it's a really positive week this week. So what's most important is about our approach, which is what kind of led to confusion last week and a bit of a sell-off, is that what we're doing is opening us to the entire crypto world. 50 million plus investors growing all the time. Now, the problem is 90% of those investors do not get into tokenomics projects. They buy Bitcoin and Ethereum and all the big coins, but it's too complex and unfamiliar, and they don't like the idea of taxes and rewards. What we're doing is we're going to become the bridge, and I did say this a few weeks ago, we're going to become the bridge between traditional crypto investors that still make up the vast majority of the market, and those who are moving towards altcoins, moving towards this modern wave of tokenomics. That's what we're going to do. So that's why we went for this approach. We are actually in the fastest growing sector, but it's very small. So the tokenomics we kind of explained a bit last week. There are people out there who need to sort of go gently into coin, and this is going to allow us to take on a huge number of new investors. Now, I can't give investment advice, but one would assume that when you start doubling or trebling the number of investors holding your token, that's going to push the price up. Now, I can't guarantee that. I can't say it's going to happen, but I've never seen an example of projects getting on major exchanges with our momentum and it not helping, the overall market cap. I need to be careful not to be seen to saying it's going to happen, but it'd be very unusual for that not to happen. So that's going to hopefully help you guys with your bag value. Okay. The thing that people were worried about was they were thinking this would mean less rewards. We are very, very convinced that this is going to mean more rewards. And that's because firstly, we're going to attract people who would never have gone near this type of project. And I will state again, the vast majority of crypto investors do not invest in this kind of project. And those that are already on centralized exchanges are just not offering a very good option at all. So ours is basically this gateway. But what happens is if lots of them buy in, look, that will drive the price up. If lots of people are buying, you can't short on these exchanges. You can't push the price down. So if lots of new wallet holders are investing, it's going to drive the price up. But it's also going to remove coins from the distribution of rewards, because when you're, as you know before, when you buy on the central exchanges, initially you're not receiving rewards on your bag. So let's say 20-30% of our total number of coins moves over to central exchanges in the short term. That means you guys on the decentralized exchanges, on PancakeSwap, Trust Wallet, or et cetera, are getting a higher proportion of rewards. Okay, that's going to make the rewards incredibly attractive. So then you've got people sat on the exchanges going, well, I bought into this. I bought it because there was no tax and it was easy to get into. Now I've taken my time, I've done my research, and I'm seeing all these guys getting these rewards. And then you're going to have people going, right, I want to move over, do that simple transfer to decentralized. Now that I'm already in this, now that I'm invested, now I understand the project, I trust it, I did my research, etc., etc. We've removed all the barriers to that process. And then they're going to want to move over to get the rewards. And that move is going to then create more rewards. Then we have, that's why we really believe in it. And then there's another element, a very smart YouTuber identified, and we shared his video on Twitter. Now, we talked about this in-house. It was something that Praveen was talking about a lot, is the opportunities for arbitrage and how much volume that could create. I'm not going to go too into that because there's probably a lot of people who don't know what arbitrage means, but there's always price differences between different exchanges and, you know, decentralized, centralized. Centralized exchanges tend to have a higher price, for example, and that's what we're expecting, which is absolutely fine because it's all even when you're on there. But that actually creates the opportunity for people to create bots that trade and try to take advantage of that small price difference by effectively making an extra couple of % profit. So even that arbitrage opportunity is going to create more volume. That volume has to come from the decentralized exchanges where all the rewards are created. So there are so many reasons why this is so much better. And it frustrated us all last week, but we kind of kicked ourselves because it was our fault that the world took a little while to understand just how significant these benefits are going to be. So we're going to take on a huge number of new users. We're going to effectively increase the volume for those who are still buying through the traditional methods, and have a gateway for those new users to move over to that system. And then there's the additional volume through arbitrage. But beyond that, I think everybody still forgets that all of our utilities are designed to create volume, and that will all go to those who are in the rewards eligible wallets. So again, if 50% of the tokens are on centralized exchanges, then the remaining 50%, so that would mean you guys end up getting double the rewards based on volume. Then everything we do through Creator, through the NFT marketplace, anything we generate, we've got some like fun little games that we've created, the devs have created this week that will generate revenue. All of that will create rewards just for those people who hold on Trust Wallet, MetaMask, etc., etc. And then suddenly it makes those wallets more attractive. So the people on the centralized exchange going, I'm in now. All I need to do is transfer my tokens over to there, and then I'm getting these rewards. So this is why it's this rolling compounding effect. This is why we did this, guys. It took weeks and weeks just to run all the numbers and work out that this is far better than what we were originally saying. So hopefully that explains a little bit more about the approach. I think we should have done a better job last week on the AMA to explain it. So I apologize. I apologize to those people who maybe got out the project because they didn't understand it or they fell for the FUD. I still personally feel it's very, very early days. I think we're looking very, very good value considering what's coming up over the coming weeks. Again, I can't say too much on that subject without being seen to give investment advice, but we are incredibly happy with what's happening. And once these exchanges start dropping, these exchanges drop out email shots to millions of people. We have never had this kind of exposure, so we're really, really pumped about getting it, because I'm telling you, it was stressful with Bitmart. It was tough. There were a lot of challenges to get over, and their final audit was only a few days ago. But because they've done it all, we can now provide all that information direct to all the other exchanges, and they'll all start dropping very quickly. So I've just about kept my intro to 15 minutes, and I think I'm pretty much done for what I want to say. I guess we can hand back to Paul and see if anyone's got any questions.
Okay. Can I go with the first question? This is one we got all week, and this will probably come up. The difference between the volume of the rewards portion and the volume of the exchanges. Will there be a place where people can see the volume from the differences, or would all be in one? How will people be able to tell what the volume is, for each?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think the answer is exchanges do publish their volume on particular pairs, so people can have a look for that data to see what, you know, the USDT stroke EGC pair was, and what the volume is for those pairs. So that information is always going to be out there. But I mean, I just emphasize that obviously the volume, it's about getting people in and then bringing them across. But even if we don't, it's going to drive the price up, and it's going to remove. Effectively, it's like burning tokens in the short term, and also all of our other utilities are going to burn tokens. So it's this exchange stuff is so exciting for people who've got their bags like tied down now, because you're just going to get a higher proportion of rewards. And if anyone thinks for a second that a 6 or 7 massive exchanges dropping, the price starting to fly up, I hope, I cannot guarantee, will not encourage people on decentralized exchanges to trade the hell out of this and to try to get back in. And those people who took their profits come diving back in. That's all extra volume. People seem to think that it's one or the other. If the price starts going up because of the exchange listings, there are big projects who still the vast majority is actually done on swap, and we're going to make that easier and easier. Remember, it's not going to be difficult for people to buy EverGrow coin. It's going to get so easy, and Simplex is going to be a huge thing that's going to make our lives so much easier. We're trying to push that really, really quickly. I hope that answers that and a little bit more on top.
Okay, let's go to Crypto Newbie. Unmute yourself. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks for taking my question. I really love this project, and I've been a big supporter of it for quite a while now. I love what you guys are doing with the project moving forward and the exchanges, and I'm kind of curious myself to see how Creator works just from a YouTuber perspective. But you mentioned a little bit about the FUD, and I've been getting quite a few questions just because some of the people that do the FUD out there have a higher YouTube algorithm, so their content seems to come up a little bit faster than ours that are, talking more about the actual project versus the size of your white paper not being hundreds of pages long. Apparently, that's an indication that you're a rug pull these days. But there was one specific thing that I couldn't necessarily address just because I don't completely understand what happened with it myself. I'm kind of hoping you guys can address it before it turns into FUD that goes widespread. I've already got a couple questions on it. And this is about the swap feature being turned off for a period of time. And I was kind of hoping you might be able to address that. I think it was a couple days ago.
I think because Paul brought that to me in a private chat, and I gave him yes. So that's how we distribute BUSD rewards, and it was actually the final audit from Bitmart that they needed to understand it, so they went deep into the code. So effectively, for once, Praveen's probably better at explaining this, and I'll pass it to him if I don't do a very good job.
Yeah.
But Praveen, do you want to explain how?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you go for it. You're better at this side.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So the swap feature, like how it works is like there's a threshold value which is defined. Suppose like 50 billion tokens are like once stored in the contract will automatically sell. So what we were doing is like we have randomized that value, like we have automated this process. Like right now, like if once it's always enabled, then whenever the value will reach, it will automatically sell. So everyone was like, they know that when the contract will sell. So what we did was like we automated it, like it was always false, but whenever the threshold value was like it reaches, it was automatically set to true and the contract would sell.
Just
So as
to
you know,
explain,
like
this is to
that's why
sell.
parts
This
were
is to
increasing.
sell to buy BUSD for distribution. I think we missed that part. So the contract has to sell coins in order to buy the BUSD, which then gets transferred into the distribution part of the contract. If that function could never be enabled, then you'd never get any rewards. And as Praveen said there, we didn't want it to be manipulated, so people would go, oh, the contract's about to sell for rewards, because the contract has to sell the coins that it's gathered up to convert them to BUSD. So we removed it from being set to being more randomized, so people couldn't go, there's going to be a short red candle here because the contract's about to sell, X amount of coins for BUSD. So that's why that function's there. But I will say that was one of the things that Bitmart identified. There were 2 audits, so we passed the first audit immediately, there were no problems, and then Bitmart said, what's this function here, we need to understand it more, and we went back and forward with them, and they basically turned around and said, no, it's absolutely fine, it's secure. Obviously that's an extra reassurance for people, is that obviously Bitmart and the other exchanges do go through a lot of due diligence to get those things. So just to simplify it, That function will be enabled randomly when certain thresholds are reached to sell the coins that need to be sold to buy BUSD for distribution. So hopefully, and again,
Yeah, right now like it's set to true because we have like once Bitmart finished their audit, we set it to true.
Okay, so there you go. So yeah, so it will continue to do that. But fair enough for people spotting it. But it's not anything that's a security problem or an issue, or it wouldn't have got through the Bitmart audit.
Okay, Crypto Mozart, unmute yourself.
Very nice.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. It really was Mozart. Mike, unmute yourself.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it and super excited, especially with all the transparency. For those of us who don't quite follow how centralized exchanges work, and let's keep it to Bitmart since that deal's done. How do they get coins? Are those coins taxed? And once they're on the exchange, obviously they're traded, but I just don't quite understand the mechanics on how that works.
Praveen?
Yeah, so definitely like there are buyers and there are sellers, and trades are only matched with like if you are bidding $100 for 100 token, and if someone else is on that side who is ready to buy 100 tokens for $100, then only your trade will be executed. Not like on PancakeSwap where every trade goes through because it's matched directly with the liquidity pool. So on centralized exchanges, definitely we need buyers on the one end and sellers on the other end. So if someone wants to like switch their tokens to sell on Bitmart, definitely there would be fees like for transferring tokens from one wallet to another. But because we need like we can also like provide liquidity to them for like market making where they would be like asking us for tokens worth this amount and USDT worth that amount, and then they would like be doing organic market making to like maintain the spread between buy and sell, because if there's a lot of gap between buying price and selling price, so the trades won't go through.
I mean, this is basically how centralized exchanges work. It's no different. So we are providing tokens for initial liquidity, market making, etc. And then it's a supply and demand thing. That's how it works. But it's the same with any project.
Yeah, so Sam, are they gonna basically buy them from PancakeSwap and have them, on hand for them? Is that how it works? Like one, kind of lump sum, buy every time they need them? Is that basically
We've been
what it
offered
is?
effectively market making services by the big. Sorry, Praveen, you can pick this up.
Yeah, like because initially when we did the pre-sale, most of our liquidity was sent to PancakeSwap and rest are like logged in users' wallet. So not just Bitmart, like if anyone wants to sell on Bitmart, they can also move their tokens there and sell it. So definitely like it won't be just Bitmart or market maker. It's open to everyone.
Okay. Anthony, go ahead, unmute yourself.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this project and I really love it. I do have a question as a small business myself. We are looking to accept crypto at some point through our Shopify. Is that something that you guys are looking to do as well?
Yeah, like recently, I think we got AGC updated in WordPress plugin, but definitely we'll be looking for a Shopify add-on as well in the future, because we know lots of merchant use Shopify for payment integration. So it would be beneficial to create a add-on or maybe partner with already existing add-on which supports crypto so that they can support EGC.
Make sure you have your mic closer to yourself, Praveen. Okay, so yes, that's going to be coming in the future.
Yes, so
You're good. We heard most of it.
yeah,
We heard.
Shopify, like definitely like we need to create a plugin to add in their marketplace where like users can accept crypto, or else we can partner with an existing plugin. Suppose like I think there are many crypto gateways which already have their plugin for Shopify, so we just need to partner with them, and then I think EGC would be acceptable. For WordPress, we have already partnered with few plugins where like you can accept EGC, but for Shopify we need to work on it. I think like soon we might have some plugin there.
Okay, great. Shameless plug here. Shiba Army. Go ahead, unmute yourself. Shiba Army, one more time. Unmute yourself.
Thank you guys for the good work. I appreciate you guys. I just want to ask a good question. How big is the whales problem that we have? It's like we have a lot of whales. Every time they saw, we just dip. So how big a problem is this?
Maybe I can
Well,
say something. In the last week or two, we actually listed on Discord. None of the top, between whoever from 50 billion up did not sell a single dollar in the last 2 weeks. So it's really the lower people. Go ahead.
Yeah, look, the truth is you can't control them, but I will say that we are in direct, regular contact with the top wallets, all of them now. So, all of the top few, the ones that have the most significant holdings, and they're very, very supportive. I mean, obviously you've got to remember the rewards that they're making are almost as life changing as the amounts they've got invested. The truth is, I mean, every project's going to have a few tokens, a few people who got in early and are still holding. And it's just part and parcel of it, especially once we get on the exchanges, the number of users that are going to come on board, and that redistribution, it'll be absolutely fine, because we actually quite like to see, a whale disappear. And I appreciate it. The only thing that's been holding down our price has been the early traders taking their profits. But when I look at the chart, it's incredibly healthy for a young project. We didn't have the kind of 90% drop that nearly every project in its first few weeks has, and we didn't have that because people know this is different. We are talking to you guys every week. We're all successful businessmen in our own right. Those projects that do that, it's because people have just completely lost confidence in them. Like we've got this very healthy chart pattern that's formed here, which is basically saying, look, like, when can we break out? I mean, anyone who knows technicals would look at that triangle formation and go, this is exactly what happened back in early October, where we went absolutely parabolic afterwards, in terms of the technicals. So if whales leave the project, especially with these exchange listings coming on, those cells are going to get eaten up. We're just not worried about it. The more users we get on board and the more distribution we get, the happier we are. And yeah, we've seen some dips as a result of literally one or two selling, but those dips have just opened us up to long-term holders. And you've got to remember, when a new person enters a project like this, they tend not to throw their entire bag in at one go. That's why we're so happy with what the exchanges are like. Someone who buy in and with maybe 15-20% of what they intend to invest ultimately, and they'll just get comfortable with the project. They'll wait for breakouts, maybe if they're following the technicals, they'll wait for news, and then they'll add more and more. So we just want to get new users on board, and this is where the exchange is going to be amazing for that. But if we've always seen the pattern that one whale sells and 1,000 people buy those tokens for the long term. That's why our price has been stable now for the last sort of week or so, after all the FUD, and we still have obviously issues with the coin market cap listing being incorrect and things like that. So once we get those little things, and we've been assured effectively once we get on these big exchanges, those problems miraculously solve themselves. So I think there's some influence at the exchanges that will get some of our problems sorted out. So there's still some FUD around and stopping people from just going all in, which we understand. You want to see these exchanges go live, etc. But I've said every week, I do not mind what people do with their money, and I don't get upset if a whale sells, if it drops down. I think people know that the team often top up when the price is low, so we're all quite happy in the long term, so we don't really worry particularly what happens in the short term. But the price, for me, the chart's looking very, very healthy at the moment.
I agree. LSP, you gonna mute yourself?
Thanks, Paul. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Great. Fantastic AMA. Brilliant news. Just a really quick question about Crater. We've not heard any news about Crater. Is there anything that you guys can tell us about that?
Yeah, thanks also for your content. I'd recommend people subscribe to your YouTube, because you do some great videos. That's LSP there.
Thanks.
And you know what? The thing I said right from the beginning is we're not going to pay YouTubers, and we are just so happy that these guys have found our project and they're making great content, and we're hugely grateful to all the YouTubers. Obviously, Crypto Dreams is streaming here, but there's others that we will share just because they make good content, and we're always grateful. So Creator is just in sort of full mode at the moment. We took a lot of feedback on board. We're improving the branding. The UI, the sort of user interface that I think you guys have found and looking at, that's going to be completely different now. The dev team have been sharing us some really nice stuff. I think a lot of people will be happy to know that we are going to improve the branding. Look, at the end of the day, we are not too proud and too dumb to say, you know what, maybe that wasn't so great. We're going to improve it. If you had a management team who launched something and then a lot of the public said, and we're not too keen on that logo, you know what, while we're able to tweak and improve things, we're going to come to the community, we're going to ask for your feedback. If you don't like something, tell us you don't like it, send us your ideas. This is a community project. You've got to remember, all the coins are deployed. We can only earn money when you earn money. We're all part of the same community here. So if you guys say that you want us to improve something, I know at the beginning, again, the FUD was like, oh, it's a sign of weakness if they launch something. And I'm sorry, but things aren't just perfect from launch. Things are upgraded and improved all the time. With Creator at the moment, it's just, all ahead with improving the overall user experience before we move to full beta testing. But it's just, that's a big project. It's going to be a really big project. And as we said last week, we just don't want to rush these things.
And Sam, is that going to have its own team running it? That question a lot this week.
Yeah, it's going to, because it's going to need to. It's going to be a standalone business, basically, and it will have its own team. And this is the point we want. This is why we decide now to really take a deep breath and say, listen, we're not going to fall for the normal sort of crypto mistakes. As the community want something every day of the week, they're going to rush us into things. I made it quite clear last week, and I think people have been very respectful of that over the last few days, and I really appreciate the positivity of the community to sort of trust us. So yes, obviously once that launches, that's going to need a team to run it, and these are things that are all going on in the background, and we're just not going to rush things anymore. If you want us to create one of the top content subscription platforms in the world to compete with, OnlyFans, Patreon, etc., it's got to be done properly, and we know that. And yeah, I think with all the exchanges dropping, we're going to have plenty of good news to keep us going. The utilities, the dev, we had a dev guy working on some sort of play to earn games and things like that this week. So there is stuff going on. We have to run hundreds of tests on those things to make sure they work out. And we'll keep you guys up to date. And when things are great and ready to launch, we'll launch them. And I think ultimately all of our projects will be standalone businesses with their own teams in place, because it obviously wouldn't make a lot of sense for us, running the overall project to be running individual projects underneath as well.
All right, great. Safe Moon Surge, famous plug. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, man.
Awesome. Sam, Paul, I love everything about EverGrow. It is actually my second biggest bag after Safe Moon. So definitely got in early and loving the rewards. And so keep up the good work. I appreciate you guys. Quick question in regards to Bitmart, because I know this was an issue with what people were having with Safe Moon when they were transferring from Bitmart. So Bitmart first put Safe Moon on there. The fees weren't too high, but then at one point they were charging quite a bit of tokens to just transfer Safe Moon or any other token really to, let's say, Trust Wallet or anywhere else. Do you guys have any idea of what those fees kind of look like?
This is
fixed?
This is where
certain amount?
This is where it's all taken so long, because you've got the issue is, and we're going to end up getting into the details of it all. Is you can't. Where do I start? So effectively, the taxes when you transfer from a trust wallet over to exchange or vice versa, you can't exempt every individual wallet from taxes. So the whole process becomes complex. And effectively, what's happening is that I'm not going to name any projects, but some projects may be rushed to get on exchanges, and that's understandable in the environment that we operate in. And I'm not going to be overly critical. And this is why we did it this way, because we were being pressured left, right, and center. Let's just get it done. Let's just get it done. Let's just do our best. And we realized, we were like, no, hold on. We have to do this properly, because the sort of problems you're describing have affected a lot of people. And we need to avoid all those. So that's why we went back to the drawing board. And I tell you, like, it's not just Bitmart that have been very patient with us. There are some other significant exchanges who have given us a lot of time, because they're trying to protect you guys. They're trying to protect the investors and all the new investors that are coming on board. So in short, with the transfer, if you want to transfer we talked about this arbitrage opportunity. This is where it's all so complex, and I'm going to struggle to explain it all in a call today. But basically, there's going to be a price difference between the exchange and the decentralized exchange, like the trust wallets, etc. And that's going to make it all work okay. That's basically the idea. The exchange prices are going to be higher. So to try and explain it as simply as I can, when you buy on exchange, the price is going to be higher on the exchange. And if you sell on the exchange, you'll sell at a higher price, so you're no worse off. If you then transfer your tokens to your trust wallet, effectively, the trust wallet price is low, but you're transferring the same number of coins, and you have the tax elements. And then when you transfer back, it's complex to describe, but effectively, this is where I said there's this arbitrage opportunity. Let's say you're holding your coins on trust wallet, and you transfer them onto the exchange. The exchange price is ultimately going to be higher, so it makes up for that difference that you're paying on the tax side, because you're going to land on the exchange, and your tokens on the exchange, you will be able to sell them for more US dollars. So that's effectively what we've been working on, that we feel other projects kind of ignored the fact that there was that price discrepancy, and then there's the extra taxes. So we kind of said, well, why don't we use the fact that you have to pay a tax to transfer your tokens to an exchange? Will effectively make the exchange price higher, so that when you remember, if you're transferring 100 EverGrow coins and they're worth $100 on Trust Wallet, but they're worth $115 if you sell them on Bitmart, then you're okay by transferring, because you're not worse off, because you can sell them on Bitmart without paying any taxes. Remember, if you buy or sell on Bitmart, you don't pay taxes, but if you transfer in, you do, and that's how, or transfer out indeed. So I probably haven't explained it very well, mainly because I've just had such a long day and it's Sunday night here. But we spent so many hours working through those problems to make sure it doesn't happen to us, because as you rightly say, despite everyone's best efforts, a lot of projects went on exchanges a little bit too quickly, and now their users have some issues, and we hope that by taking all this extra time, it's going to make it far more attractive for people to go and get involved with EverGrow via those means. So again, I probably didn't answer it very well, but I'm a bit tired tonight, but we can give out more information about that so people understand it better.
Yeah, we'll release a statement on exactly all that afterwards. Brendan?
Hi, thanks for having me up. Congratulations on all your hard work and your achievements so far. I was wondering, I asked this question on Telegram and they said I should ask here, so here I am. As the token gets more widely available, could you just perhaps give an update on regulatory strategy, like whether and when there will be a corporate entity, and if so, where? Someone mentioned that you would promise incorporating in the USA. So if that is the case, like, what's your thought on using terms like investors and marketing, given the pending XRP litigation? Thanks again.
No, it's a good question, and it's obviously been something that we've always said that we will do that. We do obviously have a Delaware company that obviously that's been running, effectively started life as a marketing company. It's now being used to run the project legitimately. Obviously, that's one thing that exchanges want to see, the KYC, etc. So something I wasn't necessarily going to say, because I know if I start saying things, everyone starts putting deadlines on everything. But I have been driving a long way today, and I am going to be traveling to Dubai this week. Now, that is exploratory. Dubai does regulate cryptocurrencies. It's one idea. I felt it was worth a couple of days for me to speak to some lawyers and consider that as one location. It's, to be honest, as you say, it's best to sort of see how things develop, to see where the best place. There are a number of places where you can effectively register regulated crypto. It's not something to rush into, because if you get that wrong, if you don't fully understand all the connotations, obviously many of you probably know that I've worked in the regulated world for nearly 20 years, and I know what it's like working under a regulator, and I do try to effectively run EverGrow to those standards, so it won't actually be too difficult for us to enter that world. But yeah, I mean, in short, there will certainly be a corporate headquarters. Whether that's in a regulated environment or not, it may well be that we'll certainly talk to the community about that. Regulation has its benefits and its disadvantages, and it's really just about us. We won't make any big decisions like that without talking to the community. But as I said, we are always thinking about these things in the background. That is part of the reason why I've traveled and all that. I'm obviously seeing a friend I've not seen for a few years. I will also be getting on a flight to Dubai in the next 2 days, and having some meetings. And that's I'm saying that not because Dubai is necessarily going to be the location, but it makes sense. And I felt it's time for us to start to have these conversations and do this research properly. So I hope that answers the question.
And please see your financial advisors about taxes, anything like that for your rewards or cash outs. That's always smart to do in your own country. Everyone's different, and everyone has a different place they live in. Okay, first fire. Unmute yourself. First fire. Unmute yourself. Okay, Seaside.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
I have a quick question. The question is, does EverGrow have a rewards dashboard?
Paul, I think you can answer that.
Yes, we do have a rewards dashboard. Go right to the website. It is on there. I think it's
so you go to
app.
The direct address is app.evergrowcoin.com.
You can enter
rewards dashboard. There's swap. You can do all sorts of things there.
You can enter your own address in there without even hooking up to it and see your rewards on there. You can connect your wallet on there to manually get your rewards for the day if it hasn't already been transferred. You can enter a public address on there and see their rewards. So it's quite useful. I suggest you check it out. Okay. I can't say this. Charchi? What is it? Crypto Kid, go ahead.
Hey, Sam, Paul, Ajit, thank you guys for all of your work so far. Just two really quick questions in terms of the buying process. So when you said that partnership with Simplex that's coming up, just to clarify, so that would be the equivalent of us going in Trust Wallet right now and clicking buy for Smart Chain and then swapping it. So essentially what you are getting at or alluding to is that we'll have the ability to just click on EverGrow and click buy, and then it will automatically swap it for us. Is that kind of what you're working towards?
I will say that's the ultimate goal. There are no guarantees on that. You'll probably notice in Trust Wallet they only do that with a handful. But the introductions are being made, and that's our ultimate goal. The Simplex deal will allow direct purchases again through we can basically create an app on the website and have that integrated elsewhere as well, where people can literally just do that. So they just put their wallet address in with their credit or debit card, and that's worldwide as well, including the USA. So Simplex is a huge thing for us. Also, for things that we build in the future, which I'm not going to say too much about, Simplex can be integrated into that. And Simplex is just the first of several payment providers that we are working to list on. So that they're just the one that we can name at this stage. We can only name once we get to a certain point in the journey with these people. That's why we've been able to name several tonight, and we'll be able to provide updates as we go.
Okay, Eric.
Hey guys, big fan of the project. I wanted to piggyback kind of on the question that was asked earlier in terms of kind of the arbitrage opportunities or arrangement in and out of the exchanges. One, that makes total sense, but sometimes you're kind of executing towards against the lowest common denominator of traders. So I'm picturing the scenario When EGC is listed, new people will see that that token. They're going to buy. Unless that's clearly communicated to them what specifically happens if that's moved, off of Bitmart and onto Trust Wallet. I could see a situation where there's a lot of confusion, and then Bitmart or the exchanges are getting blown up with messaging or communication or frustration just because of a lack of understanding of those specific traders. We get it here, but how do we prevent that? Just an unintentional confusion for something like this, because it's somewhat unique.
Yeah, that's been an important part of it. So first of all, obviously, when they're just on the pure exchange, there are no buy and sell taxes. So it's if they want to then take advantage of the tokenomics. There's actually been a page created to explain it all, which is going to be visible for everybody, and that page is going to be linked on all press releases as well, that explains how it works. So obviously the arbitrage sort of side of it isn't the only relevant. It's going to be that people know that when they want to get rewards, they'll be taxed on that move into the rewards wallet. So we'll make sure. Clearly, there's been a lot of information out there, and Bitmart are also protecting their investors by making it clear on all their releases. There's effectively a web page that's going live that explains it, that people can click straight on. Click here for more information on fees, kind of thing, and then it explains it all.
So yeah, we're getting this all week. They will do their best to put a disclaimer up and make sure that people know what they're getting when they're getting it, so that doesn't happen. Crypto Corpus.
Hey Sam, one last question, and maybe this will be more for Ajit. And I see a bunch of people on YouTube asking about this as we speak. In terms of just to kind of dumb it down for everybody. So let's say the Bitmart listing goes live, and obviously they need to buy their tokens. Let's say they need 10 trillion. Are they going to have to buy directly from the Pancake swap pool, and then that will in turn?
No, we did answer this one earlier on. They have market making services that they provide to us, which involve us sending coins and US dollars. We have basically paid for all this stuff out of marketing. So as always, we put ourselves last. So any liquidity requirements from the exchanges, they manage the liquidity. That it's a service that we've taken from them, where they manage that market, and we effectively will be sending them the liquidity they require. So that's how it works. You've got to remember that when we deployed the contract, we didn't, to make it fair and secure for everybody, we didn't keep like a stash aside that we're going to just suddenly dump onto the market. So there's no coins from there. I know everyone's asking the question, but it's effectively going to be a case of sending. Praveen, you're there. Will the transfer, when we transfer EverGrow coin, will that be taxed, or is that going to, because it's probably going to their tax-free wallet?
Yeah, so definitely there would be 14% tax applied when the tokens would be sent to them. But for the market making wallets, if they need the tokens in real time, they can integrate it with API, and where they can we can transfer the tokens to them, or they can also buy the tokens if they like it's not, and both the process would be same and the tax rate would be same in both the cases. If they buy or we supply to them, it won't make much difference.
Okay, so there's an answer probably better than everybody's hoping, is that it is taxed. I know that we are also sending them some US dollars to cover some of these areas, but as again, if they need to request tokens or bring tokens in, which obviously they will be doing, then that will be taxed, which is good.
Also, yeah, we'll be getting a written answer for all the transcripts and any other things that go into details. We'll be getting them from the team and releasing those in the coming day or days. Blessings, Pablo. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Greetings to everybody. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you to the creators of EverGrow Coin and how you've set up the tokenomics and everything you've done so far. Great job. And I just have one or two questions. You mentioned a play to earn game, so made me start thinking, is one of our projects in the future going to be doing NFTs or getting involved in creating a metaverse kind of game as well? We'll be going to that. And there's been a lot of conversation about exchanges on the Telegram group chat and even on this call as well. But I was just curious. I know you do not want to place specific timelines or time frames on some of the stuff you're doing because of how people respond to that naturally. But I was curious as to when you're talking about exchanges, I've not heard mention about any of the major exchanges like Gate, Binance, Crypto.com, Coinbase, etc. So I was just curious about that as well. And wondering if you could obviously throw some light. Obviously,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
know you're trying not. Sorry.
let me jump in because we're only going to do about 10 more minutes. But thanks for the question, and we really appreciate your kind comments. Yeah, so obviously we've talked a lot. There is NFT. There's NFT lending, there's NFT marketplace. That's all being worked on at the moment. I'm trying to. There was probably about 3 or 4 questions. I'm trying to remember them all.
Metaverse. Just speak on the metaverse. Just on the exchanges.
Metaverse.
We can get on that. Yeah, the metaverse.
I think Praveen answered this. It's definitely something we'll look at, but respectfully, let's get these exchanges listed. Let's get the things we've promised that we're going to do done first. We're not going to run out of time to get the metaverse stuff up and running. It will be done. I think you guys know that. We did say that before, but it's not going to happen in the next few weeks because we want to get these big exchanges. In terms of the exchanges you've named, yes, they are clearly exchanges that we intend to speak to or may already be speaking to. I think you guys know that there comes a point where we're allowed to say which exchange we're talking to, and at this point we can't confirm more than the ones we've confirmed already. But I think what you'll find is there's a snowball effect. Bitmart, very, very respected. Also with the Simplex deal, they're introducing us to big exchanges as well. So there's this snowball effect. Once you get on 1 or 2 big exchanges, you find it's actually a lot easier to list on the others. So trust us. That is clearly something that we're working on.
Yeah, and as they go, guys, remember we're only 7 weeks old, and Coinbase only has Ethereum-based tokens. We get that question a lot, and the other ones with the huge ones, that takes time, guys. We're already in the top 10, so just give the team time, and they'll come around. Okay, First Fire, let's try again. First Fire Wealth, let's try again. Are you there? 3, 2, 1. Okay, no. Crypto enthusiast. Oh, go ahead. Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
So I had a question about rewards. How do I go and see my reward? I don't know if this question's already been asked.
You can go to Discord or Telegram, and we will answer that question for you. Just go and
Paul,
enable.
I'll just jump in because I know a lot of people ask about rewards. First and foremost, to check if you've got rewards that are unclaimed yet, visit app.evergrowcoin.com. I'm sure I gave it out wrong on one of these. I'm always tired on a Sunday night. So app.evergrowcoin.com and have a read there. That'll either help you find your rewards or it'll explain why maybe they haven't dropped yet. So the rewards are paid out all day long, but smaller holders won't see them. Remember, you have to, inside your wallet, enable BUSD. Otherwise, you won't see your rewards. The rewards are paid automatically to those who are in, for example, MetaMask, Trust Wallet, etc., other similar wallets. They are paid automatically. They will connect directly to your EverGrow coin holdings. That's one of the very smart parts of the contract. But you still have to enable BUSD. So again, a lot of this is explained as Paul was saying. Get yourselves over to Discord. They are really great at answering questions. Join up there. Same with Telegram. Any kind of general customer service questions like that. If you get onto those groups, we have dozens of admin whose job it is to answer those questions all day, and they do a brilliant job. I'd say that's far more effective than, for example, sending me a private message saying, hey man, either when Lambo or where's my BUSD, because I don't get too happy when I get 400 of those every day. But we have people like Paul who are dedicated to helping all day long on Discord and Telegram. So any questions like that, I don't mind. We answer them every now and then in these chats because I think it helps a lot of people. But yeah, get yourselves onto those social medias.
And just a correction, guys, that is Binance pegged BUSD. A lot of people just will enable the regular BUSD on Binance in Trust Wallet or MetaMask or any of them. It is pegged BUSD. Okay, I'm going to take, we got about 5 minutes left. I'm going to take these 4 questions we have up here. I wish we could take more. Let's go with Quentin. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
So, Sam, I'm going to be that guy, and I'm going to ask what the connection is with the Rocket Man, Elon Musk. There's been a lot of buzz on Twitter and social media about the some of the responses, so I'm going to go there.
No, look, I've got to answer this one. So, first and foremost, please do not be offended that I am not covered. Look, I've obviously got the EverGrow Sam Twitter handle, but I also have my long-standing Twitter handle that I've had for many years. I'll tell you, it's at Sam Twits. Keep it nice and simple. The reason I can't currently speak about EverGrow on there is because of regulatory restrictions. I do run, and I'm in the process of handing over a licensed investment firm. Now, the Elon stuff, I've been a long-term Tesla investor. I have interacted with Mr. Musk on a few occasions on Twitter, and that's really, that's where it is. I'm not going to exploit that situation. I think the algorithm does show my content, probably more often than some people's to Elon when he's online, which is why I asked like 2 questions in 24 hours on my own timeline, and Elon answered both of them, which is actually quite unusual, even at the best of times. So we need to let these things happen organically. There's zero chance of me harassing Elon or Tesla accounts. I've been a big Tesla fan and investor for a long, long time. Let these things happen organically. Trust me, that'll be a far better way for it to happen than for him to end up, muting anyone who says EverGrow. So like the odd little comment is fine, but I tell you that it's very well known that if projects are shilled on his post, that you are not going to get anywhere with that. So that's why, that connection needs to be used respectfully and sensibly. And that's probably all I'm going to say on the subject.
Heard.
Okay, thank you. Dennis?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Will it be possible in the future to store EGC directly in Ledger Nano?
Sam, Praveen? Maybe you stepped away. Praveen, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. So, like, you can store EGC in any wallet which supports Binance Chain. Like, if it supports BP20 tokens, you can store the
So this is a
EGC
hardware
there.
wallet,
Like
and I think the issue is
Yeah.
that you would obviously have to pay the tax to transfer to
Yeah.
it. So that may be a reason why.
Yeah.
We've had questions about security before. I mean, these wallets cost, 100 odd euros or dollars. One thing that may be worth thinking about if you have, a substantial investment is don't keep it on your day-to-day phone. So, if you have Trust Wallet installed on your iPhone and you're browsing the internet and you're using Twitter and you're in Telegram and you're carrying it around with you, I'd say that's quite a bad idea. You might be better off. You can restore a wallet to Trust Wallet without paying the taxes. Be very careful when you do that. Obviously, you need your passcodes that you should never reveal to anyone. So if you had, let's say a burner phone type thing, like another phone that was working fine, that would be a way to do it, is to restore. And that would be a lot more secure, because the only issues people really have is if they give their passcodes away or if they click on a malicious link. And by basically having an offline phone that you can connect for only using for Trust Wallet as an example.
That's what I do.
So you don't have I think it's what a lot of sensible people are doing now as well. It's like you should, if you've got a big investment now, and EverGrow, we know a lot of people have, carrying that around in your pocket, using a browser, clicking links, using Telegram, all those things, it may not be the best idea, but be very careful that you really understand what you're doing before you try. You can effectively restore a Trust Wallet onto another phone. So if you have an old phone and you install Trust Wallet and you use your passwords, your keywords to restore, then that is then on. You can then disconnect that phone from the internet, put it in a safe, put it somewhere safe and sound, and that's probably the best option. And it'd be the same with any sort of deflationary reward tax project. You can't transfer your tokens without them being taxed, but that's one way to make it safe. Right, let's do 2 more questions.
Yeah, 2 more. Yes, what I was doing, Sam, is give yourself a burner phone if you feel like it's not safe. and you can just import your seed phrase on any wallet. Like wallets are just windows, and you just import your seed phrase on that phone, leave it at home. It's like a burner phone if you want to really protect it and not even go on the internet with that. Okay, 2 more questions. Luke.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Congratulations on 100K soon, and amazing project. I've got my tokens in Trust Wallet, and I wondered when the coin market cap data can be fixed, and also will the volume that's reported on coin market cap include the centralized exchanges, or will it just be the reward side of, volume?
When it comes to coin market cap, we can't give any sort of information because we don't know what they're doing at the moment. We have reached out to them again this weekend just to say, come on guys, you promised us to fix. It's been a long time now. As I said, apparently as these big exchanges go live, it's very normal for any CMC issues to suddenly miraculously resolve themselves because there's obviously connected parties between these exchanges. I'm not 100% sure about the volume question, to be honest. I think that's going to depend. Praveen, do you know any more on that?
You can see, we can see for SafeMoon or any other project, how their volume. So volume is reported directly, how much tokens were traded on that exchange in particular pair. Like for USDT, how much tokens were traded. For BTC, how much. So CMC will definitely show the total volume, and for price, they have a formula which calculates average price over all the exchanges, and then they conclude it as a final price per. But for volume, they include all the exchanges which are verified on their platform. So that's why
what we might be able to do,
going on
maybe we'll be able to build something that can just draw the data that's relevant for rewards. I think we'll work on that because we are looking to do more sophisticated rewards calculators. I think we've been very focused on the exchange listings.
Yeah.
So maybe I think we will do that. So bear with us a little bit because I think the launches are going to be pretty big, and we're going to get a whole load of new people on board and lots of people wanting our time and attention. So it's something we'll work on because I appreciate it's important, especially people trying to work out their rewards as well.
Remember, guys, the team is always listening to you guys, and they're always getting the messages you send us on Discord and Telegram, and the ideas you put in the marketing ideas on Discord and with Telegram. We're shooting up the chain, and these guys are always listening to you. So don't think they're not; they are. And one more question: my ever growing forever. Unmute yourself. My ever growing forever. Unmute yourself, please. Okay. So we want to talk. I'm gonna take one. I'll take one more question since we promised one more question. I'm just gonna take someone real quick. Okay, you lucky guy right here. And connecting. Daggate 1, go ahead. Unmute yourself, Dag. Dag, unmute yourself, please.
Guys, maybe it's meant to be.
Yeah. Maybe
Let's
it's
knock
meant
it on
to
the
be.
head. It's been as you can probably tell, I'm a bit more tired than normal today. But I'm
and Praveen is tired too. It sounds like he's over there at it's middle of the night for him.
Sunday, and he's even more hours ahead of me. I think it's like midnight for Praveen, and I'm telling you, getting this through the door with the exchanges has been a lot of work. It's been tiring. There's a lot going on, and we know next week is actually going to be equally as challenging, as we're going to try to push a whole load more so we can start dropping those tweets and those exchange press releases onto you on a regular basis over the next few weeks. So let's just say over the next few weeks we expect more and more exchanges to be dropped, confirmed. They will obviously release the thing that people mainly don't always appreciate about why exchanges have such a huge impact on a project is that when you have like we've had with Bitmart and we're having with others, like a premium listing or a prime listing, that comes with an awful lot of marketing support as well. So it compounds the effects of opening up to millions of new users because there's also so much marketing connected to that, and press releases and stuff in the media and the papers. So that's why it's so hugely positive. to focus to get this right, and now we can start rolling them out. Now we've dealt with all the teething problems. So guys, thanks so much. If anyone wonders why Jacob's been so quiet today, he had his second vaccine. I've gone through the hell of the second COVID vaccine. Not that I want to put anyone off, get vaccinated, but you get pretty ill for about 24 hours in some cases. I know I did. And so Jacob's just probably lying on his bed listening in, but he is here listening in. So Jacob, I hope you're feeling better soon, man. Works very hard for us every single day. We're all very grateful. So guys, thanks so much. Paul, as always, you've done a brilliant job. We really appreciate you taking time to host. Thanks to Crypto Dreams Streaming and other YouTubers who are also doing the same. We really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm going to end the meeting now. And have a great week,
another
guys.
Great
we'll
AMA with the EverGrow team. I'm excited by the number of exchanges. I'll go back and look at the video. I always do a review of it and then take more notes when I go through. I take kind of broad picture notes when I go through this initially with them, but I want to listen to it because sometimes I miss things as well. So I'm pretty sure they mentioned many, because we were at 11 last time they were talking about it, and it sounds like we're getting up higher, but I'm more interested in the utility than the exchanges. That way, because as soon as the exchanges come online with the utility, it's probably going to get cost prohibitive to buy more because the price is going to shoot up. Yeah, you wouldn't want to have your wallet on your daily user. So and here's what I do. I've got my primary phone that I use for pretty much everything. I take it to work and everything else. And I've got another phone that I keep locked up at the house, which also means I can't react fast if things are happening. But I've never had a situation where I needed to do a buy or sell on the spot immediately, no matter where I was at. So, but try to keep it on a phone that you only do crypto with. So that's the only function that the phone is. You set it up bare minimum. It doesn't even need to have a phone number because it's not tied to a phone number. It's just what I use is an old phone. So I did an upgrade. I got a Pixel 6 when they came out. And I used my prior phone for crypto wallets. So all of my crypto wallets and all my exchanges are on that phone. And that's the only thing I do on that phone. So every day when I wake up, I grab the phone out of where I've got it stored and turn on and check my balances and do my recordings, because I generally keep an accurate log of reflections and rewards and all that kind of stuff, as well as update my trackers I've got. But and then I turn it off and lock it back up, and that's pretty much the only thing I do on that phone is crypto. You don't want to do any kind of web browsing. If you're going to CoinMarketCap to buy a new token, that's fine, obviously, or CoinGecko, wherever you got to go to get the address to add it to the swap or whatever process you're using, or connect it to your computer. But you got to be careful with that too, and make sure you disconnect from the DApp if that's up to you're having to do. So there are a lot of ways that people can get access to your crypto, and almost every day that I'm in Discord, there's somebody that got hacked or lost all of their crypto. Sometimes it's the airdrop emails. I was going to cover that. I've got a screen capture of getting one of those airdrop things to my account as well. And I want to say that particular one said if you send 1 billion tokens, you'll get 2 billion back. Well, that's enticing, right? Because you're going to double your investment. But yeah, there's a lot of scams out there. And I've got a video that kind of covers that, and I recommend in that video also doing the 2-phone thing. I'm pretty sure you can use a ledger with Binance. I know you can use it with the Ethereum network, so you can, for example, put Saitama on there. But I've got a ledger on order. When it comes in, I was thinking about doing a video on how that process works, because I've already watched a couple videos on how to do certain things on it. So I'm fairly certain that it works. I just haven't had a chance to actually try it. I'm just not sure that I would transfer it there because I don't want to pay that 14% tax. And I'm fairly secure with having a second phone. So all very relevant points to consider. If you've got an old phone or you're in need of an upgrade, that's probably the most cost-effective approach. But if you need to buy a phone, you're about the same as a ledger. Just keep in mind that it doesn't cost you anything when you import the seed phrase, because all you do is you set up your Trust Wallet account on that phone and then put in your seed phrase to it, and then you're done. And then you would want to remove it off of the other phone after you've done that process. So highly recommend doing that because it'll keep your crypto safe. I mean, even connecting it, if you log in on MetaMask and you do some of these online things, you can run into problems. There's keyloggers out there. So if you have to type in your PIN number, for example, or your second form of authentication, two-factor authentication, there are people out there that have designed programs to catch all that information. And it works for bank information as well, but it seems to be more prevalent in the crypto space than in the banking industry. So things to be aware of. There's a whole SIM hacking. One guy lost like $25 million from a SIM hack, where the thief effectively got a SIM card with his information and was able to set up the wallet and everything and use his SIM to attack and withdraw all of his funds. And I covered that in the video as an example as well. So there really is a lot of ways to steal your money these days. You got to be careful with. But hopefully that helps answer the question for that. If you're just getting into the space and you're not too worried about it, just keep in mind, be careful about clicking on links if you're using your phone, for example. I don't know. I don't have a which links to avoid, but just be careful. Make sure that you trust the link and you've been to the link and you're going to the right page, and try to navigate safely on your phone if that's the phone that has the wallets on it, whether it's Coinbase, Trust Wallet, MetaMask, whatever the wallet is that you've got on there. Just be careful with that. Well, I'm gonna call this one. I got to get set up for the SafeMoon AMA will start in about 45 minutes, so I got to get set up for that. But I do appreciate everybody that came in, and I will be doing the recap later tonight on this one. So I'll try to keep it 10 or 15 minute condensed version. And then if there's any questions that were missed during this, that's probably a good way to do it. And then I'll, at that same time, update the table of contents for this video so that it makes it a little easier to get to specific areas. And then I'll do the same thing with the SafeMoon one as well. So those are what I'm trying to work on today, is those two recaps, and then just doing the table of contents to help viewers find the information they're looking for, or at least the start point for it. But that's it for this AMA. And if you're interested in SafeMoon, then just check back in. I'll be launching that probably in the next 15 or so minutes. I'm also going to try to get some lunch. I've had lunch sitting here for my wife dropped some off for me for a while now. And it's just kind of getting cold. So I'm going to eat that, work on setting it up for the live stream, and that'll be going live here shortly. Until next time, stay strong with those diamond hands.